On this episode of the Motor City Hypnotist Podcast, we're going to do part 2, second episode, talking about mental health and nutrition with my special guest, Alisa Herriman. We're going to get into a lot of things as far as what nutrition does and why it makes you feel bad or why it makes you feel good, and how that can affect your mood and many other mental struggles that we face. Also, stay tuned because I'm giving the listeners a free hypnosis guide as usual. We will be right there.
Get ready for the Motor City Hypnotist, David R. Wright, originating from the suburbs of Detroit, Michigan. He has hypnotized thousands of people from all over the United States. David R. Wright has been featured on news outlets all across the country and is the clinical director of an outpatient mental health and hypnosis clinic located just south of Detroit, where he helps people daily using the power of hypnosis. Welcome, the Motor City Hypnotist, David R. Wright.
What is happening, people? It is David Wright back with another episode of the Motor City Hypnotist Podcast. We're going to continue today with part 2, talking about mental health and nutrition with our special guest. Before we get to that, we are here in the Podcast Detroit Northfield Studios.
We are. I actually brought Alisa into the show now, so she could be a part of.
Oh, perfect! Of our front stuff. Yeah. So Alisa's back with us. She was our special guest, Alisa Herriman. You doing good, Alisa?
Hey, I'm doing just fine.
It's been about 2 minutes since we talked, so I just want to make sure you're good in that.
Doing okay.
So, back to it.
So let me tell you where you can find me. My website is motorcityhypnotist.com. On the website, you'll find my podcast page along with my blog and my store site with all of my MP3 downloads, ebooks, all kinds of other good things. And if you just want to have a laugh, go into my, I forgot what page it is. It's on there. You'll find my media page and just check out some clips from old shows. Since COVID has shut down my show career this year, I'll go relive the old glory days.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I really am.
I know. Yeah, Matt's a gig person as well.
Yes.
Yeah, he DJs
here
and there.
I'm a showman.
Yes, you're a showman.
Yeah, well, whatever.
So this COVID thing's a struggle. Find me on Facebook and YouTube, Motor City Hypnotist, and on Twitter and Instagram, Motor City Hypno. And if you'd like to contribute financially to the show, again, very small contributions, you can find me on Patreon. Patreon's a creator site where you can donate to your show that you listen to or watch and kind of help us out. So check that out. Again, contributions are very minimal. You get cool stuff like the coffee mug. You can use it for coffee or whatever else you choose to put in it.
Do you have one, Alisa?
Alisa does not have one yet. No. I'm going to send her one of my T-shirts also.
Yeah. I don't even have a coffee cup.
No, well, it's here. You can use it whenever you want. I leave it here in the studio. So, and wherever you're listening, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, wherever, just subscribe and leave a review. That would really help me out as well. I know you can probably, those of you watching this live on Facebook, you might come back and listen to the audio. If you do, that's great. But yeah, wherever you're listening, subscribe and leave a review. That would help me out as well.
Got it.
That would be fantastic. It is time for our winner of the week.
That's how winning is done.
All right. Our winner, we always look for good stories,
yes.
Things that make you feel good.
Yes.
And this one just made me feel good. So
we were in Idaho last episode.
We were in Idaho with a mysterious Santa Claus,
Correct.
the anonymous Santa who's just giving out things to people.
So what are we looking at today?
Today, we're actually going to talk about a superhero who became a superhero in real life.
Oh, okay.
Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
Yes. Jason Momoa plays Aquaman in the DC movies. He also was in Game of Thrones.
Yep.
And I don't know anything else that he was in. But those are two big things.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's two big things.
Justice League, yeah.
So in 2017, Massachusetts native Danny Sheehan was diagnosed with pineoblastoma a very rare and aggressive form of brain cancer,
Oh, boy.
and leptomeningeal disease, cancer in the cerebral spinal fluid.
Did he do that right, Alyssa?
Did you know those terms? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's tough to get out. So this kid's 7.
Oh, my goodness.
He's 7 years old.
Poor kid.
A recent video on Facebook page provided updates on Danny, and he got a gift, and it was an Aquaman action figure or an Aquaman toy. And he screamed, "Oh my gosh, my favorite one." And then he yelled out, "Aquaman." So Jason Momoa saw this online and FaceTimed this kid.
Well, when you only have one person that actually likes Aquaman.
Right. Well, Danny Sheehan loves Aquaman.
Well, there it
yeah,
is, yeah.
exactly. I mean, maybe he likes water. That's cool. So, yeah, Jason Momoa reached out to the parents and said, "I want to FaceTime with Danny."
That's amazing.
And he Momoa shared footage of their video chat on Instagram Wednesday evening. There are multiple videos in the post. So he said, "I just wanted to say thank you to the community, friends, and family on Instagram for reaching out and showing me this beautiful boy, Danny, who is going through chemo and has cancer," Momoa said. "I saw his video online that made me want to get in touch and FaceTime him and spend some time talking to him."
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That really is.
So, I mean, sometimes you get the feeling some of these stars are just out of touch, but
No.
then you see stories like this, and it's like, wow, that's fantastic.
Right. The power of social media, really.
Absolutely. So Jason Momoa and Danny Sheehan are winners of the week.
Thank you.
That's how winning is done.
That's it. Yeah, Jason Momoa is a winner. That's for sure.
Thank you.
I
That,
think-
that was beautiful.
My wife would agree also, I think. Maybe for other reasons, but
Speaking of social medias, Alyssa, where can folks find you at this point? I want to ask you now, and then I'd like for you to cover that again towards the end of the episode.
Yep.
Oh, for sure. So nutrition.mum on Instagram. And on Facebook, you can find my business page, Living Well with Alisa Herriman.
Awesome.
and I will include those links in the show notes as well,
Great,
so that
thank
people
you.
can find you as well.
Yeah.
Thanks, David.
So we're talking about nutrition with Alisa, and thanks for coming back for another episode. I know we're recording these at once, but thanks for coming back for those of you listening a week later. So we mentioned a lot of about diet, and we talked about those things, and a couple of the things I want to come back to as, and I want to make sure people understand this. So you talked about refined sugar. So explain to me and to the listeners, and I think I have a concept of it, but I would like to get that out. So refined sugar, and there's natural sugar, I'm assuming, which you would get in fruits and other things like that. So explain to me why one is worse for you than the other.
For sure. So natural sugar contains, a lot of times it has vitamins and minerals. If it's found in fruit, for example, it also has fiber and enzymes and things that help our body manage the impact, the glycemic impact of consuming that sugar. Whereas refined sugar, which is hidden in so many things, from granola bars, breakfast cereal,
Cola,
our drinks,
right? Yes.
Soda, juice, that sort of stuff. Those foods that sugar doesn't have any naturally occurring nutrients left. So our body has to deal with the glycemic impact on its own. And what we really want to do is eat foods that enter our bloodstream fairly slowly, allows kind of like for steady release blood sugar, and then, a slow decline. And usually at that point, we start to get the triggers that we're hungry. The problem with refined sugar is we get these blood sugar spikes, and then they don't last very long because our body produces a hormone called insulin, grabs onto this blood sugar spike, starts to lower it. We start to decline. And then we end up what I call the blood sugar roller coaster, right? Because now I've hit a low, so I need something to pick me back up.
Yeah.
And, our brains only function on glucose. Like our nervous system requires glucose. So when we have these chronic highs and lows, that can really have a big impact on our moods. So refined sugar, it's a risk factor for type 2 diabetes. We know that it causes cardiovascular damage. It acts kind of like shards of glass going through our arteries. In addition to that, it causes this or contributes to mood instability by these highs and lows in fuel for the brain. Some people call the term of low blood sugar being hangry.
Yes.
I know
yes.
that when my blood sugars bottom out and my kids all want something at the same time, I kind of like lose it.
Oh no, I know exactly what hangry is. Yes. I sometimes I'm just like, I'm so pissed off right now. I have no idea why. And I know I'm hungry.
And that's it. And it's an inability for the brain to function without a proper source of fuel. Fruits and vegetables.
Know what we're yelling about.
Yeah, you're right.
Exactly. When we get, there's this big concern around, you shouldn't eat too much fruit. If you're eating fruit in its natural form, eat as much as you want. There's so much value in the nutrition, the vitamins, the minerals, and the antioxidants in it. And fruit in its natural form still has fiber, which slows the release of the sugar. It has enzymes that slow the release of the sugar. There's a little bit of protein in all plants as well, which also slows the release of the sugar. So you don't have to limit your fruit. What you want to do is not be consuming too many processed foods, which most processed foods, you think your canned, boxed, a lot of times your frozen stuff, that stuff has a lot of added sugar and it can contribute to these highs and lows. And one of the things that's important to recognize is when we eat a lot of refined sugar, our body has to use its own stored nutrients to deal with that sugar.
Yep.
So if we're eating a lot of refined sugar and we're not eating enough nutrient-dense foods, then we're contributing to this malnutrition problem that can creep up over time and impact how we feel on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
Question: folks that are diabetic and they're looking at controlling their blood sugar and such, should they also kind of look at fruits as a way to stabilize their blood sugar, or?
So it depends on how well they're managing it. So the first thing I'll do with a diabetic client is we'll go through and identify where the processed foods, the refined sugars are coming in, and we'll eliminate those completely. We'll also strategize on higher fiber meals and snacks because fiber is the brake on how quickly sugars are digested and into the bloodstream. And with diabetics, they can't manage these blood sugar spikes anymore. Type 2 diabetes is the disease state of not being able to handle these spikes anymore. They're insulin resistant.
Right.
So when they get that blood sugar spike, the body produces insulin, the cells can't uptake anymore. So now they're insulin resistant.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So what we want to do is prevent the spike and give them foods that stabilize their blood sugar. So I'll do things like oatmeal and berries in the morning, protein balls for snacks, homemade soups, really dense breads like dark rye or pumpernickel for those who can still eat gluten.
Right.
Diabetics, I will tell you, a lot of my diabetic clients have really great results when they eliminate gluten on their blood sugar levels. So so it's really, and then eating the fiber, eating the plants, and if their sugars after the processed food is gone and after the high fiber foods are added in, when they're eating fruits, they're still finding challenges with their blood sugar, we might have to cut those back.
Okay.
But that's a really case by case, it really just comes down to getting rid of those processed foods and sugars.
No, thank you for that. Appreciate it.
So definitely we want to say natural occurring sugar like in fruits is much better than refined sugar. And So when you say processed foods, and here's one of the things that, again, many people might look at a package and say, there's only 4 grams of added sugar in this. When they say added sugar, define that for me so people can gauge.
It's refined.
Oh, that's the so added. We should say refined sugar.
And sugar now, the market, like the packaging companies are just so smart, and they have. Yep. Probably dozens at this point. I'd have to look, but I know there's dozens of different names for added sugar in products. When we look at our food, our fruits, our vegetables, nuts, seeds, whole grains, and legumes, which I talked about, in the previous episode, those foods don't come with a label because they just exist. They're just the way. And that's the food we're supposed to be eating. That's how we get enough fiber. That's how we feed the right gut bacteria and have healthy digestion. And that's where we get our nutrients that allow our brain to fire and receive messages properly. Wow. The packaged foods don't have that.
That's great. They just exist. That's what they are.
A lot of times what a lot of us don't recognize is when we look on the side of a label and we see fortified or enriched. So for example, orange juice, has added vitamin C, or white bread. Like I grew up eating white bread.
Oh yeah, Wonder Bread.
Hello.
You know,
Yeah.
You're looking on the side, you're like, yeah, it's got some added vitamins in here. This
Right.
is awesome. But it's actually, those foods are so processed that in order to sell it to us by law, they have to put some nutrients back into it. But because they're not
throw 'em
naturally
on.
occurring nutrients, we don't absorb them the same. We don't make use of them the same. Wow. So, you know, I always teach my clients, if you look at the side of the label and you see all kinds of added vitamins, there's a really good reason that they're having to put those back in there.
Right.
Ah, okay.
Wow.
So really, if you could get something that doesn't need ingredients listed, that's probably good.
If it doesn't have a label, it's probably
Well, unless it came like from not from back of a van or something. I'm just talking about like, from reputable places.
Hell, I got a bag of leaves and grass clippings in the backyard. There's no label on there.
Oh, great Odin's raven.
Bing.
Look what I got today on the parking lot.
You don't go buy an apple and there's not like a sticker label on the side of it is what I'm trying to say.
Say what the ingredients are. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Real quickly, I got to say a shout out to my sister Amy checked in.
Yes, she did.
Amy, what's going on?
She said you're looking good.
Like this in the background. What the fuck is it with you?
She says you're looking good.
She did. Thank you, Amy. Thank you. I appreciate it. So Alisa, you mentioned gut. So I want to, and this is one of the real things I want to get into on this episode too, is tell me about gut health and exactly how people can understand that and then change it for themselves.
So gut health really talks about the quality, the integrity of your digestive tract. So to your ability to absorb your nutrition, to break down, the foods you eat well. And it also encompasses, the bacteria culture that live within your digestive tract as well. The problem that I see very, very largely in my practice is a lot of gut health issues, a lot of inflammatory concerns, Crohn's, colitis, IBS. I see chronic constipation. And these are all influenced. Digestive problems are often mostly influenced by the foods that we put into our mouth. And if the problem when, staying on the processed food train, those foods don't usually contain very much fiber. They don't contain nutrients, in a high amount in any way. And they often feed undesirable gut bacteria, which can then go and cause damage to our gut lining, which can then reduce our body's ability to absorb nutrition. One of the things we say in the nutrition industry is it's not just what you eat, it's actually what you absorb. And those gut bacteria, they play a big role in our immune system. They play a really big role in our moods because they influence how our body feels. They have direct communication from our gut right to our brain. And they also play a big role in cravings as well. So people who have a really difficult time getting off refined sugar, sometimes that can be related to an overgrowth of a certain type of bacterial culture in their gut. And as they start to eliminate that sugar and starve off that bacterial culture, it intensifies its signals, which then influences our cravings and makes us think wow, why do I need this so much? But it's actually your gut bacteria that's influencing that.
Are there any types of foods that you can eat to realign your gut? Because I think our intestines are one of the largest organs in our bodies, if I'm not mistaken.
It's one of the most important, and so many people are walking around with damaged, heartburn, indigestion, going all the way to the other end. It's very few people I see in my practice actually come in with good digestion. And some of that damage is believed.
She's coming back.
Yep, our guest is froze for just a moment. Yeah, she'll be here.
Yeah, she'll be back.
Yeah.
Technology.
Maybe she's having some gut issues.
No, stop it. Sorry, Alisa, you're frozen on our screen. But this is, oh, there she comes. There she is.
There we go.
No, you're good.
You froze up a little bit. I said, I hope it's not a gut issue.
My gut bacteria. What was the question that you just asked? Remind me.
We were talking about gut health and then
absorption,
and then Matt was going to ask a question. I think.
No, I'm good.
You good? Did you ask it?
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So what I was saying is there's some concern around, the amount of chemicals that we're putting through our gut, flavor enhancers, preservatives, even pesticides, herbicides, and them causing gut issues as well.
Wow.
I'm going to kick the teenagers off the internet.
Or are they bogging you down?
I'm thinking.
No, that's just one of the things I've always paid attention to. You can't just go out and buy a 6-pack of Activia and expect to be healed. That's not going to help.
Right. No. There has to be and we talk on this show all the time. Change your thinking, change your life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Part of that is changing what you do. If you don't make change, you can't. If you are experiencing stomach aches every day and you don't change anything, you're probably going to keep having stomach aches every day.
Right.
You have to do something. You have to make a change.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely a nutritionist can probably help you figure out. I don't want to say it's common sense. And sometimes it is, though.
We're all different.
We're all different, though. You're right.
Here's what I want to really encourage, listeners, is don't ignore stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ignore it until it gets to the point where you cannot ignore it anymore, because your body gives you signs and symptoms for a reason. It's like the check engine light going off in your car. You're not going to drive around with the check engine light on for 6 months. And if you do, then eventually
I can't say I've done it lately.
You're going to lose your transmission.
I don't know. When I was 20, I think I may have drove with the check engine light on for many months,
No idea what you're talking about.
But this is it. Like our symptoms are check engine lights. These are signs that something we're doing needs to improve. And most people that end up in my practice, we have years of abuse, of the wrong diet. We have years of check engine lights going off. And I always tell my clients, it is so much harder for me to, pick you up off the ground than it is for me to catch you while you're falling. Mm-hmm. So if you have symptoms, find the support, read the books, connect with people. You know what? I'll tell you something. Like, people email me all the time and go, hey, what should I read? Here's what I'm working on. I've read as many nutrition books as I can get my hand on. I'll tell you what you should read, what you should watch. Like, just connect with people. People are willing to help.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome.
Thank you for all that.
Yeah. So let's say that somebody is just starting out, and I say starting out, like I know I need to eat more.
The red lights.
I need to eat better. My check engine light just came on. What are my first steps towards trying to get better?
So first thing you have to do, and everyone can do this on their own, just make a note, make a list of what you're eating for a couple of days. Just identify where's the wrong foods coming in, where are you maybe skipping your meals and snacks. So awareness, like that's why you go work with a health practitioner, is because you want awareness, right? We will tell you, hey, these things need to change, but you don't need to do that to identify. So just keep track, look at what needs to change, and then change one thing. Like if you're skipping breakfast, start eating breakfast for 10 days. By the end of those 10 days, it'll start to feel a little bit more normal. And then you can go, okay, I'm skipping my afternoon snack, or I'm going for sugar in the afternoon now that breakfast is under control. So it's really important to identify what needs to improve. The second thing is you have to have a plan. Nobody eats well flying by the seat of their pants. And we live in a very busy world. And that's why there's so much convenient food.
Yep.
Right? Convenient food is the solution to our insanely busy lifestyles and the fact that we now have to feed people within 8 minutes.
and that's a great point, because if you don't plan it, it's not going to happen. And I can tell you, I'll give you a personal example. Typically, I see clients during the week till 9 p.m. So I get in the morning. I usually start seeing clients around noon. Sometimes it's booked all the way through. So I'll go noon to 9 without eating anything. By 9:30, when I'm off, I don't care what it is.
Yes,
maybe,
that's right.
maybe to an extent, but I'm hungry. I just want something.
Right.
And if it's a bag of chips, that I'm going to do it because that's right in front of me.
That's right.
Yeah.
And your brain at this point, like I get clients all the time, like, why do I have no willpower? I'm like, well, how can you have willpower when you put your body in a position that your brain is now like, listen, I am no longer capable of functioning unless you give me something.
Yes,
right.
And willpower is gone. So just planning is important. mapping it out, even thinking the night before, okay, what am I going to have for breakfast? What am I going to pack for lunch? I got a busy day. I'm going to need to pop something in my mouth. I'm going to make some protein balls, just finding solutions so that you can eat for steady blood sugar levels. When your blood sugars are up and down, you're more likely to have cravings. You're more likely to overeat at the wrong time.
Right.
I have an 18-year-old son, and
I do too. Yeah, I know.
He has after dinner.
Yes. Yeah, my son has second and third dinner. The third
about-
one usually being at 2 a.m.
What about second
why
breakfast?
we need to keep
Second
splitting
breakfast.
up. It just boggles my mind. But part of the reason is he goes, he's a teenager.
Yeah.
He goes all day, doesn't eat anything.
Yeah, that my son's the same way. I know. Yeah.
I don't think he knows about second breakfast, Pip.
We're working on him. His mom wouldn't know anything about.
Yeah, that's fun. So, I know we're going to wrap up in a moment here, but Alyssa, give me your information, and it will be in the show notes as well. But let me know where people can find you so that they can look you up and get more information, and actually even connect with you if they want some nutrition assistance.
Absolutely. So you guys can head over to alisaherriman.com, and I have online forms that you can fill out. It goes right to priority email, so I do answer those fairly quickly. On social media, you can find me at livingwellwithalisaherriman.com. Oh, no, sorry. Living Well with Alisa Herriman on Facebook. And then on Instagram, I'm nutrition.mom. But if you search my name, you'll be able to find me.
Okay. And I will put all those links in the show notes as well.
Please. That
And
would
then
be great,
before we end, Alyssa, I just need you to say out and about.
Out and about.
There
we
it
go.
is.
That's it.
Yeah.
I was looking for the out and about.
Out and about.
Yeah. Alyssa, you're in Canada. Where in Canada? What province are you in?
I am about just shy of 2 hours north of Toronto. So I'm in Ontario.
Okay.
And I live up by the Muskokas.
Fun.
Where everybody wants to come in the summertime, but nobody wants to hang around in the wintertime.
Do you ever get up and see the polar bears? Ever gone up and see them?
No. We would have to go significantly farther north to get into that. Yeah.
That's what, Manitoba, I think is what it is?
So Northern Ontario, we do have some polar bears, but we're probably about 10 hours away from.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, isn't Canada mostly just empty land?
Yeah, we actually live in teepees.
Yeah, igloos. Yeah.
What do
We
you
ride
eat so
moose
well?
to school. It's how I take my children with hockey sticks. So
What in blazes are you talking about?
Alyssa, how many?
I had a friend post about a very Canadian post, and somebody wrote, "Don't forget the Molson Canadian."
You said you have 4 children, yes? How old are they?
I do.
How old are they again?
18, 16, 11, and 8.
So you have
Go on.
you have your running shoes on them.
Yeah, you know what? I wish someone had warned me about teenagers.
Yeah. I know.
Fun stuff.
I'm there. So, Alyssa, thank you for being with us. I appreciate it. And for those of you listening, I will leave all the links in the show notes. You can follow up with Alyssa and see more information about her. And I really encourage you. Our body is everything's connected. And, I tell my clients who are suffering from anxiety and depression and that we have to work on the main 3 things are sleep, eating, and physical activity. Those are the 3. If we fix those 3 things, I almost guarantee you're going to feel better.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds overwhelming that you feel like it's out of control, but like Alyssa said, if you make small changes and just start slow, one thing. So yeah, check out the show notes, find those links, and follow up if you have any questions with me as well. Join me again for our next episode. In the meantime, change your thinking, change your life, laugh hard, run fast, be kind. I will see you next time.